Hey everyone, welcome back to Marketing Ninja Unleashed. I'm Rena, founder of You and Your Story. And if you don't know by now, this podcast is all about making marketing easier. Whether you're a junior marketer, seasoned professional, business owner, or just someone who knows they need to do more marketing, we talk about the areas that are really important and cut out all the noise because it's too easy to get distracted and overwhelmed by everything in marketing these days. Today's episode is Season 4, Episode 10. Yes, Episode 10. And it's the final episode of this season. And every time I get to this point, I have a bit of a moment where I think, how on earth have I got here? It still feels like yesterday when I was recording the first episode and wondering how it would land and whether it would be the way I wanted it to. So I thought, instead of doing something overly structured, I wanted to use this episode as a bit of a conversation, a reflection on some of the things that have come up this season, but also a few things that I think are really important right now if you're running a business or leading a team. So we're going to be talking a little bit about brand strategy, self-awareness, and something a little more personal around redundancy. So wherever you're listening from, let's get into it. Let's start with brand strategy. It's one of those things that I talk about a lot, and I know sometimes it can feel like one of those phrases that sounds much bigger than it actually is. It can feel a bit corporate, a bit like something that only applies to larger businesses with big teams and big budgets. But in reality, it's the opposite. Brand strategy is even more important when you're a smaller business, because without it, everything just feels harder than it needs to. You end up second guessing what you're saying, changing direction more often than you should, trying things because you've seen someone else do it, rather than because it actually fits with your brand. And what I see a lot is people doing lots of marketing, but not really moving forward. And that's because there's no clear foundation underneath it. When you've got a brand strategy in place, things start to feel a little more settled. You understand who you're talking to, what you want to be known for, and why someone should choose you over someone else. And that clarity changes exactly how you show up. It means your content makes sense. Your messaging feels consistent, and your customers start to recognize you for something rather than absolutely everything. And that's when marketing becomes a lot less reactive and so much more intentional. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is self-awareness, especially if you're leading a team or even part of a team, because this is one of those skills that doesn't always get talked about in marketing, but it makes such a big difference. When you're leading people, it's not just about having the right strategy or making the right decisions. It's about how you communicate those decisions, how you support your team, and how you create an environment where people can actually do their best work. And all of that starts with understanding yourself, understanding how you naturally communicate, what your preferences are, how you respond when things get stressful, what your strengths are, and how and where you might need to adapt. Because the reality is, not everyone works in the same way that you do. Some people want quick answers and fast decisions. Others need more detail and time to process. Some people respond really well to energy and big picture thinking, while others feel more comfortable with structure and clarity. And if you're not aware of those differences, it's very easy to unintentionally create tension. But when you are aware of it, you can start to adjust how you communicate. You can meet people where they are, rather than expecting them to meet you where you are. And that's when teams really start to work well together, because people feel understood, not just managed. If you think you're pretty self-aware already, that's great. The key is to understand how your behavior affects others, and I can help with that because I'm super excited to announce that I'm now also an accredited practitioner for insights discovery, a personality profiling tool that helps you be better. And I know that's true because it helped me. In 2016, I completed the evaluator questionnaire, and it made me realize what my actual strengths and weaknesses were. But not only that, it helped me understand my team and senior management much better. And that meant I could communicate better with them. It meant I was able to ask for what I wanted. It meant I was able to get onto different projects. And when redundancy hit me the second time round, it meant I was more prepared because I knew how I would react in stressful situations. And that really was a stressful situation. So now I'm super excited to be offering that same service out to all of you guys. If anybody is interested in getting their insights profile, and with that you will also get a coaching session with me, drop me a message, email me at hello@yaystory.com, and we'll book in some time and get your profile completed so you can be a better version of you. I'm really excited by it, and I can't wait to speak to you too. Now, I touched on it a second ago, but I want to move into something a little bit more personal, and that's redundancy. It's something that I've experienced more than once, and if you've listened to this podcast, you'll know that already. I know how difficult it can be when you're in that moment, even when you're told that it's not personal. It's really hard not to take it that way. Your mind starts asking all sorts of questions, and it can really knock your confidence if you're not careful. But what I've learned over time is that redundancy doesn't define you. Even though it can feel like it does at the time, it's usually a business decision based on things like budget, structure, or direction, not a reflection of your ability or your value. And actually, in a lot of cases, it becomes a turning point. It forces you to stop and think about what you really want, what you enjoy, and what you're good at, and what you might want to do differently going forward. For me, those moments pushed me into new opportunities and ultimately into starting my own business. At the time, it didn't feel like a positive thing at all, but looking back, it created space for something better. So if you're in that situation now, or you've been through it before, just know that it's not the end of your story. It's a moment within it. And have a listen to episode 7, where I go into my personal experiences so much more, and I talk through how I got through it and how you will too. Before I wrap up, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to the amazing guests we've had this season. Shan, Anita and Derek, thank you so much for your time, your honesty and your insights. These conversations are such an important part of the podcast because they bring in a different perspective and real experiences that people can actually learn from. So I really appreciate you being a part of it. And finally, just to close out season 4, I want to say a genuine thank you to you for listening. Whether you've been here from the start or you've joined somewhere along the way, it really does mean a lot that you've taken the time to listen, to learn, and to be a part of this. This season has been all about growth, and not just in business, but personally as well. It's about getting clearer on what matters, stepping outside of comfort zones, and doing things a little more intentionally. And if there's one thing I'd leave you with, it's this. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep showing up in a way that feels right for you. Now, we're not going anywhere. Season 5 will be back on June the 26th, and I've got some exciting things planned, so make sure you're subscribed and ready for that. In the meantime, you can always follow my socials or connect with me on LinkedIn or drop me an email if you needed to catch up. And as always, remember, you and your story is here to make sure your story is the one the world won't forget.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.